Would you rather fly or be invisible? I know I just hit you in the face with an icebreaker, but seriously, what would you pick? I know for me, I'd obviously want to fly. I mean, sure, with invisibility, you could sneak around or steal some stuff, but wouldn't you rather never have to pay for air travel, never have to take your driver's test, and never have to wait in traffic? But here's the deal breaker for me with invisibility. It doesn't even take a superpower to be invisible. There are tons of people every day who feel underappreciated, unseen, and unheard. I should know. I'm on stage crew. Basically, this means I make events just like this one in our auditorium possible. In order to have a functioning show, you need people managing backstage and controlling audio just like this microphone. And my personal favorite, controlling the lights. And on top of all of that, we also construct the sets for the play and the musical and make sure the stage is in tip-top condition. So needless to say, we're pretty essential to productions. But let's be real, we don't always get the recognition we deserve for it. But we can't blame people for not seeing us. I mean, our most defining characteristic is wearing all black to, well, not be seen. But just because we don't mind being unseen doesn't mean it's not nice to be recognized every once in a while. We're all living through an unprecedented time right now. The entire planet is in quarantine while the COVID-19 virus spreads across the globe. This new normal has brought a spotlight onto our essential workers. In fact, the virus has redefined how we view essentiality. I mean, before this, you certainly wouldn't see messages strewn across social media and television saluting healthcare workers, let alone postal workers and grocery store workers. It's interesting to see how it takes a pandemic for us to show support for people who just make our communities function. And that kind of invisibility can suck sometimes. I know for me, being considered less than a cast member or someone in the pit orchestra every once in a while is on a far smaller scale than being ignored in the real world. There are a lot of groups of people who don't get the attention they deserve. And one of these groups that's ever more apparent now is the elderly. Back in the fall, my grandma broke her hip. This meant she had to be in a wheelchair, which also meant she had to go to rehab. The rehab that she went to was at a nursing home in town, and I would visit her a lot while she was there. It made me really sad just to see how depressed she was by people only about a decade older than her, with these sad stories of their family never visiting or that they could just live on their own, but they ran out of money. I remember one day I was waiting in the lobby and I saw a young woman pushing her mom in a wheelchair. And I also noticed they were speaking Spanish. Fun fact about me, I'm pretty conversational and I was also really bored. So I just decided, why not say hi? I ended up talking to Nellie, the woman in the wheelchair, for a while. Nellie had told me how her family are the only people she can really just have a normal conversation with, because not a lot of people on staff there speak the language fluently, and none of the residents do either. So I decided, after I would visit my grandma, I'd stop by Nellie's room as well. And we would only have short conversations about art or soccer. But the best part about that was walking into her room and seeing her face light up. That's what being seen does. The invisible don't just have to be strangers. They could be people you see every day. They're people like O'Neill Batchelor, who used to be a maintenance worker at Georgetown University. One night at the library, one of the students there, Fenton Bellamy, was studying and just decided to have a conversation with O'Neill. Without that conversation, he wouldn't have gone on to learn that O'Neill was an amazing chef and wanted to own his own Caribbean restaurant one day. He also wouldn't have gone on to create Unsung Heroes, which is an organization where college students can shed light on people who are crucial to the functionality of their college campuses, but don't quite get the recognition they deserve. Now, I'm not saying you have to go out and learn a new language or create a whole organization to show people you see and value them. But I also don't want you to get the idea that a smile and hi is enough, because even though we're all guilty of it sometimes, it's really just a baby step. So realistically, what can you do to see the invisible? I'll tell you a secret. You don't need a superpower. In fact, the only powerful thing you need is a change in perspective. It turns out that when we view people in our lives with gratitude, we are able to really see them. In a research compilation done by the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley, they cited a 2017 brain study that showed that when people were shown gratitude by someone who didn't necessarily have to, the reward center of their brain was triggered, prompting them to show more gratitude towards others and themselves. Furthering this cycle, a study at Northeastern University showed that when people focus on things they're grateful for rather than things like annoyances, they end up becoming more happier and healthier as people. And they did this through the study of gratitude journals. So if this cycle only helps everyone involved, why not be a part of it? The invisible are your bus drivers and receptionists and that family member you haven't called in a while. They're your baristas and retail workers and schedulers. Here at the high school, there are crossing guards, our office workers, and our cafeteria staff, and our amazing janitorial and maintenance staffs. They're everyday people you may see, but not really see. Take the time to think about who these people are. Reach out to them and make them feel seen and valued. Show them that you care about what they do. You know, earlier, maybe I was a little too quick to judge invisibility. I mean, maybe it's not a deal breaker that it doesn't take a superpower to be invisible, because after all, it doesn't take a superpower to see the invisible either. Maybe it's a gift, because it lets us all be more human. It lets us see the bigger picture of the very real people in our lives. It lets you make people feel seen and valued. That is so powerful. In fact, that might just be so powerful, it might just make you a superhero. Thank you.